What's up, everybody, and welcome back. It's the NBA Fanatic Johnny P, and I just wanted to give you some updates on the NBA free agency going on right now. Today was day number 1. We had a few people commit and sign to their teams, and a couple people switching teams. So some of the most notable players I wanted to mention is Paul Pierce. He ended up leaving Washington after one season, and Paul Pierce, I'm not the biggest fan, because as a Cavs fan, I hated seeing him play at Boston all those years, but I'll tell you what, he left Washington on a really good note. I mean, he just tore it up in the playoffs. He went and signed with the Los Angeles Clippers, which we discussed before. They're going to have an amazing lineup now. I'm really curious what's going to happen with DeAndre Jordan. He still has to make a pick, and I hear that Dallas is actually in the running for him. But with Paul Pierce on that team, he signed a 3-year, $10.5 million contract, which is incredibly cheap, so they're getting him on the low. Now, granted, he's an older player. I mean, he was born, I think, in 1977. He has some years on him. However, he can still contribute, and we saw him do that in Washington in the playoffs and be clutch with a couple game winners. I think he hit 2 game winners, I want to say, at the buzzer. So that was a good pickup. He's reunited with Doc Rivers, who they get along really well from their Boston days. Draymond Green actually decided to stay in Golden State. I guess his contract talks came to a halt there very briefly, but from what I understand, he might sign a 5-year deal worth about $85 million. Now, in order to do that, mind you, they have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, yada, yada, yada. And in order to do that, they're going to have to clear some salary and cap space. So it's rumored that they might try to get rid of David Lee, and that they tried to package him with a draft pick to kind of float him around somewhere. David Lee is an ex-All-Star. I mean, the guy can play, but he took a seat after Draymond started taking his starting role. So I'm really curious what's going to happen with David Lee. But Draymond Green re-signs. Kawhi Leonard, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody, stays with the San Antonio Spurs. That man can play some defense. He has the biggest hands in the world. He could basically dribble the earth. He signed a 5-year, $90 million contract. It makes total sense for him to stay there. It's going to be his team if he keeps on playing the way he's playing. Now, if LaMarcus Aldridge signs there, those two could be a really, really good tandem moving forward. I think they'd both fit into the system. They're both very humble people from what I see, and I think it would be really, really good for the Spurs to have those two players moving forward. If not, Kawhi Leonard is totally clutch. He's a great player, plays extremely hard. It was a good, I don't want to say pickup for the Spurs, but it was good that they hung on to him, because that would have been a big loss there. And then finally, Jimmy Butler decided to stay with the Chicago Bulls. He's a guard-forward combo. He's going to be signing a 5-year, $95 million contract. He has a player option after 4 years. This last season, he averaged about 20 points, 5.8 rebounds a game. He's really, really productive, and he just fits well on the Bulls. And I just couldn't picture him going anywhere else but staying in Chicago. So those were some of the big names that just came out today. Like I said, I'm really curious what's going to happen with DeAndre. Really, really curious what's going to happen with LaMarcus Aldridge. And Kevin Love, and I know I didn't mention this, but Kevin Love also is planning on re-signing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, a 5-year extension worth $100 million, I believe it was. I mean, just big-time money. But I would like to make that a separate video, because I also want to talk about Tristan Thompson, what's happening with J.R. Smith, what's happening with Shumpert, because he re-signed also. I believe that's a 4-year contract, $40 million. So I'll make the Cavs video separate from this one. But I just want to check in, let you know about Paul Pierce and Jimmy Butler and these guys, especially Kawhi Leonard. Man, that would have been a good pickup. But either way, there's a lot going on in NBA free agency right now. You know I'll keep you tuned as best of my ability, as best as I can. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.